Good morning, and today is a normal day in extraordinary times. What we've been doing is working with schools to produce guidance that will work for them. We've been looking at the latest evidence, scientific evidence from the UK and around the world, which shows that schools are actually quite a safe place to be in, particularly for pupils. And we're building on that research, working across government to provide contingency plans so that if the virus does come back and start spreading within our community, we can keep schools open and keep them safe, not only for students, but also, very importantly, for the staff that work there.
Well, talking of the staff, when it comes to holidays, getting on and off island is obviously very difficult at the moment. What are you doing to help teachers who have families off island, particularly during, say, Christmas holidays?
Yes, I mean, now is a very uncertain time in terms of travel to the United Kingdom. We've found out overnight that there's been even more restrictions in terms of people mixing over there. What I am doing is working with head teachers, listening to their concerns about staff who, if they don't manage to get across to see relatives at Christmas, may not be able to do so until next Easter or even later. So we're working with head teachers, with the Office of Human Resources, to find a more flexible way of dealing with holidays, particularly over the winter weeks, so that we can actually make sure that people stay in touch with their loved ones, but also feel secure on the Isle of Man.
We heard from Mrs Burnett there about some of the measures that they've got in place at Ballacameen. Are you confident that enough has been done in the schools should there be a student who has symptoms?
Yes, I mean, what we've been doing over the summer months is building on the substantial work we did in May, June and July in terms of making schools safe to reopen. All the schools have got contingency plans. They've all got risk registers. We've walked round those schools with the head teachers to make them safe as possible. And we know the way to deal with the virus now. We also are in a very different place than we were in March. We've got track and trace systems. We can get a test done within the day. And we have very, very good guidelines. What I'd like to say to any parent or pupil who's concerned, go on the COVID website, which is part of gov.im. Have a look at those symptoms. If you get symptoms or you are unwell, don't go into school. Phone 111, get advice, get tested. If the test is negative and you become well, you can go back to school. But by testing and tracing, that is how we're going to keep ourselves and our community safe.
And you mentioned a moment ago flexibility for teachers and looking at ways to make sure they can stay in touch with their family. Could we see some changes then to the academic year?
What we need is flexibility, not just for teachers, but for students and their parents as well. We're going into very uncertain times in terms of the situation across. We're keeping a very close eye on that in terms of our border restrictions. And what we need to make sure is that we're safe on the Isle of Man, but also we don't lose those liberties and those things that we really treasure, such as keeping in touch with loved ones.